Thank you, Angel and Heidi. Hello, everyone. Happy new trading week to you. And if you're an Australian or a New Zealander, then happy Anzac Day for yesterday, if there is such a thing as happy Anzac Day. Anzac Day, of course, is commemorating all of the people who served in wars under the alliance of the Australia and New Zealand Army Corps, hence Anzac. So, happy Anzac Day to those of you who are, as I say, an Aussie or a Kiwi. The Antipodeans, as it were. Heidi ho to you too, Hanan. How you doing? Hope you're having a good Monday so far, and I hope you had a good weekend, everybody. I certainly had a busy weekend. I was on a machine all pretty much all weekend, and then socialising at night. It was just crazy time, but nice to catch up with old friends. Always is. Let's start the week by deciding whether we're going to trade the pound breakout day. Hi, Paul P. And thank you for that. Oh, I've just lost everything. I have no idea if I'm still on air or not, but everything has just disappeared. If you can still hear me, guys, please say hello. Now I can see my camera's back. That's something. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Hi, sweet. Okay, why am I on? What's it called? That thing, Telegram group. I have no idea. Things aren't working the way they should be here. Okay, guys, can you see the Telegram, or can you see? I'm now dragging my chart across to that screen on which you should now be able to see pound US dollar 1 hour chart. Sorry, it's all over the place here. I just lost my complete scenario. So I'll just continue. It looks to me like we're now sharing pound US dollar. Awesome, thank you. All right, if this candle closes in this little range here, I think we can actually trade this as a breakout. We can actually trade it for the breakout. But if it were, pardon me, to close up here somewhere, different story, I wouldn't like to trade that. So I want the candle to close within these highs before I look to trade it as a breakout trade. I think we can call this a range. I'm okay with that. The last couple of days, we are getting a series of different scenarios. Obviously, we've got a higher high here and a higher low. Then we've got a lower high and a lower low based on this. So yeah, it's all over the shop. I'm happy to call that as a consolidation. So we will trade this, providing this candle doesn't burst here in the next minute and a half. We shall see. I'll set the short order for that. Again, for those of you who are not familiar with this, this is a test or trial or beta of a system that we're hoping to get tradable. But until we do, it is really just micro lots that we're trading here. So don't rely on this as a system of winning money, guys, because it's not there yet. So the entry for the short will be 138.89. Excuse me whilst I cough. Okay, something wrong with my throat today. And the stop loss will be, at this point anyway, 139.13. 139.13. That'll be the sell, not buy. This is going to change now, isn't it? No? Okay, we're good. I think we can happily place that now. There we go. So the short is in. The long will be the same bar. So we're really trading the breakout of the bar because it's the range of the last five, in fact. Let's put the buy in place. Good news, Ash was not to be with us today, but he can now be with us, so he'll be with us shortly as well. So the level was, can anybody remember? 39.13, I believe. And the stop loss 38.89, 1.3889. Okay. Oh, doesn't like that. 3913. Why not? 1.3913, 1.3889. Pending order, sell stop. It's reminding me that I've got too much on the plate here. Clever little thing. That's what it'll be. No, it won't. Okay. Why? Oh, why? Sell stop. It's a buy stop. That's why. There we go. All right. So break out of the candle, guys. It's pretty simple, this one, because that is indeed the range of the last 5 bars. Let's see how that goes. TP1. What have we got? We've got 38.89 is 11 plus 13 is 24. So 12 pips above our entry will be 1.3925. Let me change the color of that because I can't see a dash thing. And make it white, I think. And just like that, we're in the trade. Let's hope it's got some strength to go on with the job. Okay, we can cancel the sell. That's gone. Delete. There we go. And we can look to close half of that when, or if and when it gets to TP1. Righto. Now do we just sit back and wait for that to happen, for the unthinkable other thing, which of course is the stop loss gets hit. Righto. Whilst that's looking to happen, I'll try and monitor this somewhere else, or I could put an alert, couldn't I? I could put an alert. Why don't I do that? How do I do that without going into, don't know, without closing that? How do I do that? Okay, I know, got it. All right, now I want to go and have a look at the 3 trades that I gave you on Thursday, I think it was, Thursday morning perhaps, or certainly into Thursday afternoon into our show. They were Aussie yen short, pound Swiss short. What was the other one? Aussie Swiss short, maybe? Yes, that's correct. All very much correlated, of course. Okay, it looks like it wants to go higher, doesn't it? Looks like there might be a bit of energy around today. Let's hope it works in our favor. We'll see if we can capture some of it. I'll just hang in here for a second, guys, in case that does hit TP1. It looks like it wants to have a crack. And if so, we don't want to miss it. It's the worst feeling, isn't it? Actually, speaking of that, Aussie yen and pound Swissy should have hit TP1 on both of those. Yet my Aussie yen trade, which was being managed by the EA, didn't take TP1. I wondered, did anybody who traded that have the same experience? Because that's really infuriating. Both of those trades should, oh no, Aussie yen should be TP1 and out. Pound Swissy TP1 and still running. And Aussie Swissy, my Aussie Swissy didn't trigger, so I've had a bit of good luck and a bit of bad luck. Why? Because I had the wrong expiry on it, I think. That was the reason I woke up Saturday morning and had a look at that, or sorry, Friday afternoon, I think it was. I can't quite remember when. I was on the road on Friday. And it hadn't triggered, it had expired. But I suspect that that shouldn't have been the case. And I'll go through that in just a tick. As soon as I can get this up to TP1, come on, have a crack. Have a crack. Looks keen, doesn't it? It does look keen. We're now above DR1, which is always a bit of an issue. So yeah, if anybody traded Aussie, well, you should have already been in Aussie Yen from Ash's trade anyway. But if you traded my trade, I'd love to know if you got TP1 or not. Should have, but I did not. Okay, I just missed that TP1 because I was looking in the wrong direction. Up there again. What are we after? 25, is it? 23.8, 24.3, and one more time. One more time. Way you go. 24, 24.5, 24.6. I'll take it. Okay, so I've taken TP1, and we'll now move our stops to where they should be, which is now what, 12 below entry, which is 2901, sorry, 1.3901. So stops to 1.3901. Why won't it let me do that? Yeah. 1.3901. Okay, now we can get into something a little bit different. It did look keen, didn't it? The pound. That might be a bad thing because I wanted to trade the pound against. I want to trade. Well, actually, it might be a good thing. I want to trade the euro long against the pound, which we'll get to. But let's go and have a look at these three trades. Okay, Aussie yen, as I said, my entry was here, below this bar, and my TP1 was right here. And at what, 83.05, this candle went to 83.02, and that represents a TP1 in my book. But as I said, my EA has not taken that TP1, so I'm still at risk in this trade, and not looking to flash if we get above these pivots. But if the pivots hold, then that's all good. Again, if you traded this on my trade, not Ash's, I'd love to know if you got TP1. If you didn't, if you traded Ash's alone, then happy days, you should be fine. But pardon me, if you traded mine, you should have got TP1. And I want to know if you didn't and what broker, please. That would be good. I'm just having a look at euro pound there because I don't want to miss that. Pound Swissy, we got TP1. As I said, your stops should now be at wherever they are. 40 pips. TP1, 40 pips. Yep, you should now be 40 pips from entry. I can't, what is that, 127.48. So 127.88, if my calculations are correct. Yes. Stop should now be 127.88. What was the other one? Aussie Swissy. Aussie Swissy, as I said, I didn't trigger on Aussie Swissy for whatever reason. I think I had the wrong expiry on it, frankly. If you did, you would not be in profit at this point in time because we traded this bar here from memory. Or that one, the stops are above here. 70.57 stops are at 71.21. So we've got 21 pips up our sleeve here at the moment. I don't because I'm not in the trade anymore. But if you are, I hope that hangs on for you. Now to today, I'm pretty keen to get long euro pound. And the reason I'm pretty keen to get long euro pound, I'm not sure if you blokes watch the, sorry, blokes is an affectionate term that I use. It's an Aussie thing. The Sunday show, where I wasn't, but I did ask Paul to go through this chart. And my my key thing here was both the monthly and weekly charts. Monthly charts at this point in time showing a key reversal bar, but the weekly chart of the past, or 2 of the past 3 weeks, has been a key reversal bar here, key reversal bar here. I reckon a weekly pivot and daily pivot test here is an excellent opportunity, especially if it goes through those and down to whatever that level is, 86.38, that red line. If we were to get down to there, I'd be very happy to look for a long at that point, targeting right up the top of the range there in the 92 zone. So I'll be keeping my eye on that. Maybe on the daily chart tomorrow, we could see that opportunity. We may even see it earlier than that on the 4-hour chart today if we were to come down to either here or here, present us with a higher low based on this one. I'd be more than happy to go long at that point. I do have a few others that I want to have a look at a little bit later, but happy new trading week, Ash. How you doing, bud?
Oh, yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Just looking at some of the detail going on here, and it started interesting. You know, I'm kind of I've been quite keen to play the FTSE today.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite enough information. There's a lot of kind of choppiness going on right now, and I'll show you what I'm looking at, and then we'll see what we can ascertain here. It's just trapped in the middle, and I think we could almost be mistaken into thinking that the market is fairly positive, but after seeing Bitcoin rally to the upside quite nicely and a few other bits and pieces, but I'm not so sure. I think that there's some further downside that could come into play here. I'm looking at the FTSE here, and it looks to me like we're going to be coming down to about this level. Now, the issue is the pivot has held things up a little bit. There was a possible opportunity as we first opened up, but right at the highs, but I didn't quite have the chance to get on board with it. Hold on a minute. Let me just do this on a different chart, and then I can continue to check something else behind the scenes to help everybody out a little bit. So I like the downside, but it's, you know, I am looking at very, very short term, a very, very short term situation here. Now, I don't think I'm going to get this. So actually, I'm not going to focus on that one. Let's focus on this one because I've got more charts on this one. Okay, so firstly, the FTSE is easing down, but I think it's probably going to get trapped. We've got a wider picture here with the FTSE. Let's bring in the clean chart so we can look at the dailies. The wider picture here is this head and shoulders pattern, and it's looking a little ominous. The question is it the right timing? And what's also interesting is that the data is actually pretty good. You know, so I think downside might be a little tricky, but I do think this is probably more likely to come down today or in this session than it is to go up at this particular stage. And I was just trying to grab a little bit early doors, but you literally had to get in right at the highs and within the first minute of trade, and I was just finding that just a little bit tricky. But there's enough information to suggest that we're coming down a little bit lower, so I might try and take another short. Or I might try and take on a short somewhere around maybe this level here. Maybe this level here at 80.91, but we might not be aiming for much. We might just be aiming for that pivot. So let's see what happens. There's a little hammer that was created on the 5-minute charts that it is currently below that particular price. So it is a bit negative, and I don't see anything that is suggesting to me that we should be looking at anything positive at this stage. But let's have a look at the other information we've got. So I've got this Aussie yen, as you were just pointing out, in the market. I'm still staying with that. I've got a couple of sell orders in that one that are active, and I think that there's every chance that the price comes back up to this point and then finds some resistance. So I'm quite comfortable with that. On my kind of imaginary stop, if you like, is above this level here. At 84, where is it? 84.80, I think it is, or 84.75, something like that. So it may well pop to the upside. So you can see with the Aussie yen then we are building a picture of positivity, because that the Aussie yens had the bounce that that it required. Now we look down to some of the some of the other signals. So I like to look at the VIX at this in this kind of scenario, and the VIX got a pop just towards the end of last week, but it's managed to kind of hold right now. But this is a little bit of a bull flag. I mean, there are patterns within patterns here, and this is the level that that the VIX needs to get through to suggest that that it's more significant. But there is a bit of a bull flag, and this particular flagpole is pretty solid as well. You know, it's pretty significant potentially. Not only is it an engulfing bar, but it's also a belt hold as well. So these do tend to be pretty bullish. So I'm not too keen on suggesting that we should be going long on markets today. I think that the short is probably more likely. Now look at the Nasdaq and the S&P.
Wait, before you do, this question, I think it was relating to Aussie yen from Swingfish. Hi, Swingfish. How you doing?
Hey, Swingfish.
Two things from you actually. What the, I shouldn't say that word. What is a Discord channel? Because I've got no idea what a Discord channel is. And the other one, Ash, is where's your take profit?
The take profit is on the Aussie yen. So what I'm really doing with the Aussie is I'm trading the weeklies. You know, this is really my pattern on the Aussie yen. And when I look at the weeklies, what I've got here is I start to kind of draw out a different picture. So the Aussie yen is more of a kind of longer term trade. The FTSE would be just a scalp, but this is the interesting bar for me here with the Aussie yen. We haven't been able to significantly break through those highs. Now, you know, we're certainly in the upper band of the this particular area, but this looks to me like if this bar can break down, then we would have some potential downside. Now, what I like to do when I'm looking at the potential areas, are drawing some technical levels and then start to build a picture of what the pattern is suggesting. So these are the technical levels. Now, so I'm just going to mark off some horizontal levels here. This one's pretty good. If we go to the higher one, nice horizontal level here back from January 2019. That might be a little bit stretching the hope a little bit, but this one looks pretty good to me. You know, this is another one here that we can see back in 2018. You know, it has reacted around this level quite a few times. There's a high here where it came down from. There's another high here where it's which is so far untested. So I'm looking for the 80-70 to be tested at some point. So as I say, it's a longer term trade. Now what I want to do is see whether the pattern that I draw suggests the same thing. So I'm going to go to my dailies here. And what I've got is these two highs, and I've got this area here. So this obviously is a symmetrical triangle or some sort of triangle you see. And I'm going to just measure from the top of the line down to the bottom of the line. So from the highest peak straight the way down, so it meets the bottom of the line. So I'm doing that. Now I'm going to grab this line and I am going to move it to where it might break out. So the measurement is going to be where this thing breaks out. You know, I don't know when it will break out, but let's say it's going to break out in May. So I might be waiting another week here. So this is when May starts. Now this puts this measured move down here. So the first thing that I'm spotting is that firstly it's 100 pips below my potential target, my first target. But which is good because it means that my target is potentially quite conservative. And secondly, that there might be another opportunity here, you know, before the turning point. And I do see a little bit of price action here, which could hold it up. But what does this line suggest? So let's have a look. This line suggests that on the weeklies, yeah, like that point there. I like it over here. Not so keen there. Yeah, it's pretty good actually. So that line's pretty good too. So the measured move at the minute, sorry, the target at the minute is suggesting more the 79.80 than it is the 80.80 or the 80.70 if you like. Now let's do a fib. We'll do a couple of these and see what this suggests to see what the retracement is. Well, the fib is in agreement. 23.6% retracement on the fib is also this 70-80. So that is now becoming a really strong level for a target. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't use this. It just means that if I do take it here, I can be a bit more comfortable and confident that I've got a decent chance of taking profit. Because if I wait for the lower one, it's still got to get through here. So if I do, you know, if we do take that one, then we'd be looking 14s down. So we're looking at around about, say, a 2-to-1 to that point, around about a 3-to-1 to the lower one. So I've got two positions on. Maybe the upper one will go to the lower one, and the lower one will go to the upper one. But the investigation is suggesting this 79.70 is looking to be a better level than this one here. Now, I also want to just measure out a fib from this point, because that really is the last proper bull run from here. So if we're thinking about this in phases, this is more like phase 1 here, from here to here. Now I've got phase 2, which is from here to here. So let's measure phase 2 and see what fib that would suggest. Now phase 2 gives me a 38% retracement right on the 80-70. But it also gives me a 50% retracement on the lower level. So these two levels look like the most obvious. I wouldn't aim down here. I'd probably be all out if the market manages to break out. So I'll be taking profit at 80-70, and I'll be looking probably to get fully out by the time of if it gets down to the 79-70, I'll be looking to take full profit. Now, the reason that I'll be looking to take full profit rather than looking for lower, and I'll be absolutely fine even if it does come lower, is that look at the trend. This is really the first, this is the low here, and this is the first higher low. So really, I'm just looking for the next higher low. Now that higher low could be here, so it might come all the way down there because it looks good on the monthly. But I'm not trading this on the monthly. I'm trading it on the weekly. And the reason I'm trading it on the weekly is that this is this particular trade idea was generated from COT data, and the COT data is of course a weekly piece of information. So I'm basing the idea on the weekly information. Now that there is a little bit, there is a chance that we come down here. So this is really sort of where you as a trader will make your decisions. Do I want to aim for 78? Do I want to aim for 79.80? Do I want to aim for 80.70? Now, of course, you're not going to get as much profit if you aim for just the top one. Do I want to take a majority at the top? Second portion, and then just leave a little bit on. These are all decisions that need to be made after the event. Now I've decided that the 80-70 is for me. I've also decided that I might leave some on the table for 70-80, but the price action will dictate that. Now the price action may well just cruise straight through all those levels, which means that of course this will definitely be an option. But I can tell you I'll be all out by 78. There's no doubt about that. That if I get 78, that will be a great trade. So I'll be coming all out by then. Hello, Discord channel is like a Telegram channel, just a different app. Oh, okay. I've never heard of it.
And look, I feel really awful about your very small one at 15,000 users swing fish. What's going on? 15K is okay. I'll go with 15K.
15K for what's that?
That's his Discord group. Well, I assume it's a he. But
okay. That is very good, mate.
Yet, intimate groups are also very nice. So.
Oh yeah, we do like a nice intimate group here.
We do indeed.
So right now we're building a picture for what's the general market feel right now. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has hit a double bottom down here and bounced. So you can see this on the probably best on the hourly actually. Came down here to around about the 47,500 level, back down again to 47,500, and it's bounced up pretty significantly as well. Now that suggests to me, what's up, buddy? You like that, don't you?
Well, I feel sorry for the people who started to buy again after before that gap. Oh dear.
You feel sorry for these buyers?
No, the buyers before the gap who got in at the break of the
Here.
consolidate, who got in there.
Yeah.
Wow,
Because they might be out.
they just got slaughtered.
Yeah, they probably did. Yeah, because interestingly, the institutional positions aren't suggesting that these are institutions. So this is probably these probably are retail traders, which probably have been slaughtered. Now that suggests to me that the 51,000 level is the buy chance on Bitcoin. Now this is not out of the woods by any stretch, because what we still have with Bitcoin is a downtrend, and we're finding resistance here. But what we are potentially seeing is a squeeze in this level, and then the chance for Bitcoin to rush higher. The issue really is, mate, as I said, I don't see the positivity right now. There is obviously some issue going on, and I don't know what it is, but there is obviously some issue with the market. There's not out and out confidence. Now I think the India issue is plaguing the markets. There's no two ways about that. But it's not really filtering through hyper strongly. Now we have earnings this week, which might put the market in some kind of in some kind of hiatus, and we have also some announcement and speeches this week. So let's check the fundamental kind of news releases.
And we've got May next week, where it all
and we've got May next week.
Downhill.
Yeah. So Germany, IFO business climate is about to come out in about half an hour. We'll see what goes on there. Probably going to be a good number. Most numbers are being pretty good right now. And also, the EU has announced that they will be probably allowing some vaccinated Americans to start traveling into Europe again. So
wow,
there is some positivity going on there.
Hi, Lewis.
Hey, Lewis, how you doing, buddy? Bank of Japan outlet reports we have as well today, and Macklem speaking from Canada. Now, we should be watching out what this guy says, mate, because all of a sudden, Canada is starting to look like the potential. They are the potential first movers.
The leader of the pack, yes.
Yeah, he's really speaking it up. Now, I would question that personally, because would Canada really move before the United States with such a heavily reliant industry on exporting to the United States? I would suggest not. So I think that might be a little bit premature from Macklem. So I'm not sure whether some of it is rhetoric or not. I don't know, but the fact that he has come out and started to say that there is some potential tapering that could happen, and really kind of striking a relatively hawkish tone as well, could be significant. We might see that play out to be quite significant. I don't know, but I think he's a bit early, and I think that might be a bit presumptuous from his perspective. Lots from Australia as well, mate. So some decent numbers are probably going to be coming into play. But this is where things start getting interesting. We have the governing bodies, if you like, OPEC out on Wednesday, FOMC statement out on Wednesday, the press conference also out on Wednesday. So we'll have a decision really, or an indication of what's going on with interest rates in the States. Now, with Macklem saying what he did last week, I wonder, is it the time for Jerome Powell to start saying something similar? I don't know, but I do think that could be quite interesting. The speech from Jerome Powell this week.
I'll defer that to others who may have an idea. I've got none.
Well, I don't really have too much an idea. I don't think he's going to be moving. He kind of did stick his flag in the ground quite recently, and he's going to look pretty stupid, I think, if he all of a sudden starts to change. So I think the tone will probably be quite similar. Advanced GDP is going to be too late for us to even care about. And I thought there was a Biden speech this week as well, mate. And I think that if anybody is spooking this market right now, I think it could be Biden. I think obviously the situation in India is significant, but I also think what Biden said about hiking taxes probably won't get it through Congress. But the fact that he said it and he's going to try and go after it, I think could spook markets a little bit. So what will be interesting today is we have Tesla, and I think we have Apple, and I think we have another bank today as well that are reporting. I think it could be quite interesting today. What are those? What are the indications from those guys and their reporting season? And more significantly, what's going to be the price action of the Nasdaq after they've reported, if those numbers are positive? Because if the numbers are positive and the Nasdaq doesn't really move, does that tell us that this market might well be getting a little bit tired up here and almost waiting for something negative to come out? Now, I've got my levels on the Nasdaq. When I look at the Nasdaq is obviously, in my opinion, the one to watch when it comes down to whether things are bullish or bearish. And if you're a buyer of the market, the Nasdaq's the best, in my opinion. If you're a seller, the Nasdaq's also the best. So let's have a look at this on the Nasdaq. My area on the Nasdaq is probably along here. When I look at this on the weekly, I've got this pattern going on here, which leads us up to 14,500 is the top for me. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not interested in shorting here, because I would be, because we do obviously have this potential double top going on here. It's a little bit higher, but we have a potential double top here. But I think if the Nasdaq's coming down, then it may not be here, but I think in another 3 or so % to the upside, I think this could start to drop.
It's survived quite a lot of double tops, hasn't it?
Yes. Oh God, mate. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. And difficult, isn't it? I mean, the market looks under stress, but the news and the data is good. So is this going to be one of those situations that the news and the data just isn't good enough? Things are changing. And this is what inevitably happens with all markets. Markets recover, and after they recover, the chances to make money, the chances to make easier money, diminish. Because now, the really sophisticated investors have to put their hat on. Buying things like Bitcoin down at these areas here looks like an absolute breeze. Buying Bitcoin up here, much trickier proposition. Everybody's talking about 100,000, 400. I heard of 400,000. They may well be right, but they're probably not willing to put. In fact, I think there were a few people that said 100,000 by the end of the year. Absolutely fine, and it might happen. But they may not be willing to suggest whether this is the turning point where they're going to get back involved, or whether it's just a little bit lower. Bitcoin is and the crypto market is obviously an animal and a beast in itself, where it's almost too young to really ascertain some absolute clear judgments on when it seasonally does what it needs to do, and other bits and pieces. Shukri will let us know a bit more about that.
You've got to change your way of thinking, haven't you? If you want to.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And this particular area, and this is the interesting thing about these markets, is that Bitcoin currently is it's not an easy market to trade. It's become all the more difficult. Well, when I say that, it's not an easy market for investors to trade. It's a good market right now for day traders. It's a great market for day traders because there's huge volatility and it's really starting to pick up. So it's a really good one for that. But for the hodlers, I think it's probably a bit sweaty. I think it's probably a little bit more difficult because it's, and this is what happens with this stuff, isn't it? It crashes down 10, 15, 20%, and then it pops up another 30, 40%. And at this stage, I don't think the hodlers are too concerned, but I think that this is probably the point that you can, just enjoy a bit of day trading with Bitcoin and take advantage of that.
I might have a look at a few charts in the next couple of days and see if I can make any sense of it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting, mate. Yeah, I think for day traders it's great, but I think for people getting in, investors at this particular time, it's a bit trickier. Which it always is, on the first particular, when you first have to get the train moving again. But Turkey has already come out and said that they're banning cryptocurrencies. Now, obviously, that's a lot probably to do with the Turkish lira. Lewis asking, crypto got hammered last week. Is there more to come? In my opinion, Lewis, I think there probably is. But I don't know, and it's difficult, isn't it? Because you may well be missing an opportunity by not getting in here. But I just wonder whether we might still see 45. I wonder whether we might need to see 45 before we really see some genuine positivity here. But we haven't. You know, this area here is the area that I would have liked to have seen tested, and it didn't quite get there. So, is this a retail move? And most things are suggesting it is a retail move. And if it's a retail move, that means the investors and the big money and the whales are probably waiting just a little bit lower, and there might be just one more flush out before we start moving higher. The issue is that there are dates in the crypto market that really are scattered throughout the summer. And that means that that people are going to want to start getting in relatively soon. But we're in the last week of the year, and I wonder last week of the month, and I wonder whether this week we do see some volatility, possibly some positivity from this stuff. We start next week by coming down, and then we start to look at maybe week 2 or week 3 with buying the crypto space up again. So I'm just a little bit concerned that we're going to be we could be caught in a crossfire here. So I'm sitting on my hands with the crypto market right now. I'm interested in May. I'm definitely interested back in May, but I'm sitting on my hands right now. I don't like the opportunity. It's not quite clean enough for me. I think we just had a bit of a dead cat bounce. That's my personal opinion, but I could be way off. And the thing with being way off is that for me, I would prefer to wish I were in than wish I were out at this stage, which is why I'm sitting on my hands. But it doesn't mean I've got a clear idea of whether we are going higher or not. I'm just sort of thinking, let's just wait a little bit longer. The other aspect is there's no question to me that the crypto market is going higher. So if I was to buy here, or if anybody was to buy here, I think you'd be okay. You know, I don't think you'd be run over by any stretch. But if you're trying to find that best possible price, I wonder whether we're just still a little bit early. That's my personal take on it. Finally, gold, mate. Let's just have a quick look at the gold market. I was saying yesterday that I'm still not convinced about gold. I think that we are probably on a still in this channel here. That concerns me, and I think we're at the top end of that channel. We're still in a downtrend on this weekly time frame, and I still don't see the commercials coming in with gold. And until those commercials come in, I won't. Either the commercials need to come in, or we need to take out the highs, and then I'll be confident with gold. But I still think that there could be some troubled waters here for gold. And,
that's in a pretty strong sell zone right there, I would have thought.
Yeah, there is, mate. There is, and the U.S. Treasuries, the yield on the U.S. Treasury is problematic for gold, and I think they've popped up a little bit again today. And we should really look at the dollar finally, actually, before we completely continue, before we completely collapse this. Now, this is not formed, but it is the possible start of an inverted head and shoulders. Now we'll have a look at that right shoulder, but there's a possible start of an inverted head and shoulders. Now the best point for me to get into this head and shoulders would probably be here. It would probably be there, and that means a break of this area here. You know, you can see that the left shoulder is, sorry, the right shoulder is sloping down here. But really, for me to be really comfortable with a dollar, I would want to see it come up here, back in here, and then take the trade to the upside, rather than trading here. So I'm not happy with this this inverted head and shoulders yet. But it looks like it is forming. There's a trend line along here as well, which may well hold price. But I think the dollar probably does have some upside, but I don't think we have a clean enough picture to suggest that we should be getting in just yet. I think we need to be waiting for 91.50-ish, but it needs to come through, back again, and then up, and then I'll be interested in the inverted head and shoulders. So inverted head and shoulders on the dollar obviously is going to affect, firstly, gold, and secondly, it will affect those indices as well. So there were just a few. I think there are inconclusive pictures going on, mate, which is why I'm finding the market a little bit trickier right now. But I think that there's some volatility that might play into our hands as day traders. But when it comes down to buying and holding onto assets, I'm not in, not yet, not yet.
Yeah, well, that's not my thing anyway. So that's your department. I've got. I think we spoke about this last week or the week before, where something just doesn't seem right.
It does feel like there's a turn coming, doesn't there?
There's something afoot. I've got no idea what that is at the moment, but I can't. The dollar, trading the dollar long is a tough business, I've got to say.
Yeah. And I think it's too early. I do think it's too early. I think the other thing with it is that there. I mean, I've expressed my opinion through the Aussie yen, and my problem is mainly markets have had some pretty good news recently, and it continues to have pretty good news actually. So if that's the case, why is the move to the upside slowing down? That's the weekly on the S&P, but look at the dailies. We're just kind of caught in, and it might be earnings season. Maybe we're waiting for earnings season to really garner some genuine information. But it just feels like that there's an anticipation that something is coming that is going to rocket for a period. Now, there's no question that we should be looking to buy. But I think that there is probably a decent pullback before we do buy into this market, personally.
The interesting part about that, and I have really not followed any of that because it doesn't fit my profile. But if you look at the charts are just defying logic because it just cannot keep going and going and going and going and going. Yet it is.
Yes. Yeah.
And like the Nasdaq chart, it's every time you get a double top, it smashes through it. You get another double top, smashes through it.
Yeah.
So it's defying technicals, and I suspect it's defying all the good judges as well, who are almost ready to pounce as soon as there's a sell signal. Yet it doesn't happen, and that's kind of weird part. And everyone's expecting it to happen. And same thing, I recall the same thing happening before GFC, or was it before? Can't remember. When was the last big correction on S&P? Whenever that was. You can tell I don't trade it because I can't remember it. But everyone was praying, PREYING, that there would be a sell signal at some stage, and then out of the blue comes this correction time.
Yeah.
And we just kept getting higher highs and higher lows and higher highs and higher lows until that happened. And it happened without warning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that there was no double top at that time. There was no lower high until much later.
Yeah.
You can pick it up later, but that first move, almost impossible.
Yeah, well, the earnings season has the earnings for the S&P, I think they're up around about 30%, and I don't think they were looking for numbers anywhere near that. So it's been a peculiar time, mate. But what's also interesting about this is that the stimulus checks that had been given to Americans weren't going into the economy. They were going into a lot. Well, some of them were, but a lot of stuff was just going into investment. People were buying Bitcoin. People were buying assets. They were buying equities. So the run to the upside has been aided, if you like, by the Fed and the government in the United States. And things are changing, and this is what I was saying about the economy is now starting to open up again. So as the economy opens up again, does that mean that people are going to stop doing that? They don't need those checks anymore. But it was kind of a situation. What are you going to do with this free money?
Yeah, well, until you've got interest rates that are attractive, which is a long, long way off, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
And you've got housing in a bubble, which is, I don't know what it's like in the UK, but I think it's like it around the world. surprisingly, where, house prices are just crazy, ridiculous, certainly in Australia and New Zealand, that's the case. So the only, if you like, mainstream course of investment or even speculation, if you like, has to be either in currency, Bitcoin,
Yeah.
or the stock market.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know how to trade currency, obviously, so they would probably bypass that as an option. Bitcoin is the flavor of the month, if not the year, if not the decade. And the stock market is just keep on bubbling because all of that liquidity that's been pumped into the economy has to go somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, it's a false read. But where's the option?
Yeah,
Why
absolutely.
would you take your money out of the stock market right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Doesn't, that's where I'm a little bit on the, as I said, I don't invest. I've got a few investments in stocks, but they're just hodls. They're
Yeah.
away in the distance somewhere. I don't
Yeah.
monitor them at all. Where else would you go if you've got, say you've got a little pocket of money to invest right now? You can't put it in the bank because you get 0.5% interest or something.
Mm.
You can't buy a house with it because you need too much equity, if you like. Bitcoin's the flavor of the month. Everyone's making $1 squillion out of Bitcoin, so they say. So why wouldn't you go there? You put a bit of money there, and you put a bit of money in gold. I'm
Yeah.
with you on that. And you'd probably put a bit of money in stocks, but at what price? It's crazy, isn't it? To me, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, and that's the question here is at what price? Because nobody will want to miss the next melt up, but by the same token, if you're a trader, if you're an investor, and you're attempting to be as professional as possible, then you've got to wait for your price. And the way I see this right now is that that the price isn't attractive, and this is why if I need to sit and wait, then I will. And that's it. That's really sort of like my take on it right now. I think that there's enough messaging to suggest that something could change over the next 3 months. And we've had a decent run to the upside with very little respite. If you look at the FTSE really as an example, ever since 2020, when we had this is COVID, but ever since towards the end of 2020, okay, you probably could argue that one actually. You probably could argue that there has been towards the start of the year, but really this year so far we haven't had a genuine move to the downside which would test anything. But things still do look quite attractive at this stage, but just some respite would be good. This is the Nasdaq, which does give us a slightly different picture. May 2020. It's just been a complete cruise to the upside. It's just taken off. So I would like to see something a little bit deeper, and I do think that there's enough messaging to suggest it could happen. So
I think a lot of people would like to see that.
yeah, it just feels like there's pressure, doesn't there? There's just a bit of pressure building, but it's just not manifest itself yet. And I also think it's quite interesting with Biden saying what he said. That's a significant change that could happen for markets in making money. And yet there hasn't been a huge reaction to that yet. Now, this is the president of the United States. So either people are just sort of thinking, well, it won't get through Congress, so whatever. Or they're thinking, let's just wait and see if that story develops a little bit because it is a bit concerning.
Yeah, Lewis, I agree with you 100%. But I never think that government should be handing out money to people. I never think that. What they should be doing is giving them food or shelter or whatever it is that they're lacking. Money's not what they're lacking, because, and I don't mean to be harsh on people who are in unfortunate predicaments, because you can't generalize. They're there for varying reasons. But if, for instance, no, I probably shouldn't go there, but let's say that they're in a situation where they can't do anything but survive. They haven't got the prospect of a job, and that could well be because of the global circumstances at the moment. It could be any number of reasons. But what they don't need is something to speculate on. And I go back to, wow, many, many years ago when I was involved with another trading company, and the person approached me and said, I've got to learn how to make money quickly. And I asked them why, and they said, because we've just lost everything, etc., etc., etc. So they wanted to pay for a trading education course with a credit card that had no backup. So in other words, they couldn't afford to do the course. And I actually pleaded with that person not to do it, because that's not what they needed. What they needed was a way out of their predicament that was chance free or risk free. And I know that's very, very difficult to come across, but how are they going to fund their trading? How are they ever going to have the mindset to be able to sit down and trade? It's impossible when you're under pressure like that. And I would advise nobody to enter into a trading, certainly not currency, who was in that predicament. But going back to my point is that's not what they need. They don't need money, because in general terms, and I'm being very harsh here on people who can control the way that they spend money, but there are people in that predicament because they don't have the ability to control their money or their finances. So that's not what they need. They don't need money to go out and trade markets or go and bet on the ponies or put money in poker machines. That's not what they need at all. They need assistance with food and shelter. And wow, how do we get political here? But that's what I believe. So, Lewis, to your point, 100%. You can't solve the problem by handing out cash, and you never have been able to. It's never worked ever. Wow, sorry, I went off on a tangent there, and
that's okay, mate. That's okay. Have we got any? I mean, I'm probably going to have to look at the US Open. I think there's enough earnings today that would suggest that the US Open might be the opportunity. But have you got anything that you were looking at to trade?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's have a little run round, mate.
Okie dokie. I started with Euro Pound, and I'm still of the opinion that that's technically a good spot to start. That's not Euro Pound. That's Euro Pound. So what I believe, unfortunately, we're at the top of this area, which is not a nice place to be for me. But what I do see is that we're at the bottom of another area. Now, it's debatable where this range is, but I've got this range, and it's always the same for me. I'm looking for 2 equal highs and 2 equal lows. The first 2 equal highs and the first 2 equal lows. Now, on a smaller time frame, that is there. On a bigger time frame, and here's where this gets difficult, that is there, because they're the first 2 equal lows, which means that we're still on the way down here. Yet, that's the weekly chart we're looking at. If I declare this range to be a little bit higher, which you could argue that that's the range. It's actually not the way I determine ranges, but I could certainly argue that that's the range. In fact, if I wanted to squeeze it up, you can make the picture, as you can with most things. You can make the circumstance fit what you're actually looking for. And I hope I'm not doing that at this point. But to me, this candle here on the weekly chart is extremely significant. So if I do call that the bottom of the range, and again, I may well be making something suit my circumstance, but I can't ignore that. That is, as you guys would know, what I consider to be a key reversal, and it's a bloody big one. And then it's followed up by another key reversal, which is another big one. So my contention would be, and I don't want to buy it at the point of contact, but if this does retest the pivots here, today, and that's the weekly chart. Let's go with the day. If it does well, it has already tested the daily pivot, right? I could make a case for this to break out on the daily chart, and I'll have a very, very good look at that tomorrow in the morning. So if the chart looks like that tomorrow, I would be prepared to trade the breakout, which is almost there right now. Now on the smaller time frames, this is looking quite the reverse, because it looks like a false breakout at the moment. This candle currently, which has got an hour to go, will probably determine whether I'm of the mindset that we're actually going short before we go long, or otherwise. Because if this closes, let's say it closes on the daily pivot, that then it becomes bullish to me. But if it closes under here, it becomes bearish to me. So I'm not ready to trade this right now, but both the bigger picture, or the bigger time frames, the weekly and the monthly, are telling me that the next move is not down, it's up. Why do I say that? Well, because the range is telling me that. No matter where you put the bottom of the range, you have to be cognizant of the fact that once we do hit there, if that is to be the case, we're going to go in that direction. You've just got to follow the candles, and the candles, well, the price action. The candles are telling me that if this comes down here, then momentum could take it down to here, and that's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with that, because my entry will be up here, and price ain't going to go here unless it's going to the next resistance level, in my humble opinion anyway. So I'm keen to get long euro pound, but I absolutely defer to those who would say we've got a little bit left to go. So watch this space. If that does look to be a false break, then I'll trade it as such, and I'm happy to go in that direction. But the candles aren't telling me that at the moment. Back to Aussie yen, I 100% agree with the macros on this one. I'm looking to play this short, and as I said, if you traded my way, you would have had TP1 and be out right now at break even, looking for another opportunity. I didn't get TP1 for whatever reason. I can't tell you why, because I don't know why. Either the EA failed to trigger it, or the spreads were too great at the time. I don't know. It wasn't in front of the charts. But it hit 83.02, and my TP1 was at 83.01. 83.05, as you can see. So that's not in a great space if we get a close above these pivots, because the stop loss will be hit. Pound Swissy, on the other hand, did get to TP1, and I'll be looking to have that continue on its way. Kiwi Swissy, the reason I'm looking at Kiwi Swissy, I think we tried to trade this earlier in the week and it didn't trigger on this. Yeah, there was our entry was here and it didn't trigger. I'm still okay with this. If I was to get a pullback on this bar in particular, would present me with a lower high. There would be a little slingshot trade line across there as well. That's the daily chart I'm looking at. So I still think there's an opportunity to go short on this one. That will be tomorrow. If perchance there's a 4-hourly opportunity that I don't see right now, but you can see that there is a range, there's this box range in here as well. So maybe we're headed to the monthly pivot, get back underneath here, then retest it, then we can go short. So it's a little way off yet. Euro Kiwi, as you guys would be well aware if you've been in the show for some time, I am super keen to get long this, and it just won't set up for me. But you can see what's going on here. Reversal, phase 2, reversal, consolidation, phase 2, consolidation, and we're still in that consolidation box on the weekly chart. So best part of this, of course, is we're at the bottom of that range, and we're simply looking for a higher low here. So a nice little test of the monthly pivot in that confluence area with a rejection bar that's got a black body. Yay, let's go. So I'll be looking for that tomorrow. Today, don't really see an opportunity today unless this puts on a massive move and came down to here, back above. That's not going to happen today anyway. It may happen on a smaller time frame, but it won't happen on the 4-hour chart. Aussie Swissy, again, Aussie Swissy, for me, it didn't trigger because it expired. For those of you who did take the trade, you'd be in it underneath this bar, and you'd be looking a bit sick at the moment. Again, I'll be looking for that to go short throughout the week. If I get another opportunity, I'll be on board with that. Euro Swissy is not triggered. This was the weekly chart, right? And we traded this last week. We're still inside that. Whilst ever we're still inside that bar, I'll still look to keep that order in place. And it'll probably look better once we get up to this level and take out the high of this bar. So there will probably be a better entry on this at some stage. So let it get to there. I'll cancel the order if that's the case. But whilst ever we're inside this bar, I won't. And I'll be looking for a short off the top of that little, what does look to be a bit of a bull flag at the moment, I must confess. Euro Aussie exactly the same as Euro Kiwi. In fact, it's not exactly the same as Euro Kiwi because Euro Kiwi broke out of this massive reversal pattern. Euro Kiwi, just I'll go to the daily chart on Euro Kiwi so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Big 2 bars here on the daily chart. Retrace or consolidate, burst out again at the top. We're in that consolidation phase again looking for the top of that. Euro Aussie, a little bit different. Those 2 big bars that were the reversals went straight into a range and hasn't come out of that range yet. So I'm expecting phase 2 at least, maybe up to this level here, but it hasn't happened yet. This would be awesome to trade if we can get a clear false breakdown here somewhere. So get underneath here, back above the pivot, the monthly pivot and the trade line. Then, wow, that would be awesome if we could get in here somewhere. That's what I'm looking for. I also want to have a look at dollar CAD and dollar Swissy, neither of which chart I've got here, but also want to have a look at Aussie Kiwi. The reason I want to have a look at Aussie Kiwi is, have we hit something? And the answer is no, we're still midstream here. So I don't want to look at Aussie Kiwi. Pound Kiwi, just because we can. We want to get back into this as well. But at the moment, we're below that and we don't want to go long at this point. So that's still hanging on. Quick look at dollar CAD and dollar Swissy. And then I'm done. Okay, that massive bar last week, which I can't even remember what that was now. What was that? Doesn't matter. It was an emotive move, but it was a bloody big one. Now, what that's actually done has forced price below that range that was pretty prominent on the chart, but it's also given us the potential here for a higher low. Like I said before, it's tough for me to think long US dollar, but this level here is key for mine. If we can find a break and retest of that level, I think this could well go short. But I'm not liking what I'm seeing there at the moment. The weekly chart is also showing me that consolidation. And again, if we broke below that and retested it, then I think there's probably a short on. Tough to trade into that level, of course. The only other one I wanted to look at was dollar Swissy. Why can't I find it? Oh, it's right up the top of the charts. That's what I want. Okay. We spoke about this weeks ago, and we mentioned that the 3 months in a row we hit a resistance level, you remember, and we have to come off that. Why? Because we've been gone 6 weeks in a row, or whatever it was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row without retracement. Well, we got the retracement, all right. We certainly got the retracement. I will gyro absolutely in a tick. Question mark. And this one is really interesting again because it's closed below these lows. I think I'm a seller again, but I've got to have a retracement now. That's the weekly chart, of course, that we're looking at. So I'm back on the side of the bears. Terrible place to trade from here. Terrible. That's daily chart. I've got to see a decent pullback and I've got to look for some trade lines. There's no trade for me there right now, although I do note that we've broken the most recent support level and now retesting. I will have a look at that tomorrow, but I don't know that I'll be keen to go short here. I'll be looking for something up here maybe. Kiwi yen. Okay, Kiwi yen on the daily chart. Potential upside from bottom of its bullish range to top again, and also a hedge against our Aussie yen short, perhaps. Okay, interesting. When I look at that chart, the only thing I see is double top, big rejection or big reversal, lower low, lower high, lower low, equal high. So range, if you like, and that bar there is significant to my mind. So when I see that, I'm thinking, tough to go long. Let me go a bit tighter. What are you looking at? Bullish range to the top again, and also the hedge. Okay. Where have you got the range? That's a good question. Two equal highs in there, maybe. Or tighten it up to there, maybe. What are you seeing, Gyro, that I'm not? It's a bullish range to the top again, and also, I guess you've got to zoom out more, perhaps weekly range. Okay. Is it kind of in there where I am? I think that's kind of the range that I'm looking at. I don't see the channel. I'm not, maybe up here. Okay. Is that kind of what you got, Gyro? I'm not super happy with it, I must say, but yeah. I'm not feeling your love, mate. I'm not getting it. I'm actually only seeing downside at the moment. Until I see the trend line. Let's call it a trend line, eh? That I can see clearly. And okay, now I see where you're coming from. So you're looking at the top here. All right. Yep. I can't go long here, however, because what I'm seeing is the big double top and the very genuine lower high here. Why? Interesting question is, why hasn't it gone short? Aha. Monthly pivot is stopping it. All the pivots are stopping it. And there's another range in there. Yeah, okay. I can't go long, mate. It's not in me to go long here, but I can see where you're coming from. Maybe if you did zoom down to an hourly chart, you might have something maybe up to here. But yeah, for me, it's not there for me. And I'm done, buddy.
Okay, mate. All right. There's a little. Well, we'll have to look for the possibility later, maybe with a FTSE. But yeah, as I say, mate, I am going to wait for the US session now and see if I can get an opportunity on that instead of this.
Well, how's pound going? Okay, TP2 guys is at where we get in 13, 24, 48, 61, 139.61 is TP2. That may even get there. Wow, it's a big ask to go through those highs, but it looks super keen. It does look super keen today, the pound. So what I would do is simply move my stops to entry at TP2. I won't take any more off the table. So, yep, I'm done.
All right, mate. Sounds good. Sounds good. I'm done too. I'm done too. So let's wrap it up and focus later on what is there for us. The update on the Aussie yen update really on the Aussie yen is there's not really anything to update. So, I mean, you just got to wait with that one. I don't see anything significant to the upside or the downside. So just let it do its thing, and see if we can take some profit at the levels that I was saying about earlier on. It's a weekly trade, so it's going to take a while. It's going to do this. It's going to mess about here for probably quite some time. But look for it in May. That's when I probably think it's going to move. But you just got to be really, really kind of strict with yourself and say, look, that's the opportunity I've decided to take. So let's see what transpires. I'm not taking this on a short-term trade. I'm not a short-term time frame. I'm not expecting to get my money fast. So just sit tight. Is my take on that.
Happy days. We'll talk cryptos tomorrow with Shukri, and hopefully some of these moves are setting up for me as well. And we can look to trade Euro Pound. We can look to trade either Euro Kiwi or Euro Aussie as well. And maybe that dollar CAD and dollar Swissy sets up also. We'll see how that pans out. But right now, sit on my hands. Thanks,
Sounds
buddy,
good,
for being here as always. And we will talk to you tomorrow. And we'll talk to all you guys if you can join us as well. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.